CLGP is a very, very big deal
Yeah.
for us. Um, so we're gonna. I was talking about collisions before, and so the F-50s, they don't seem like. It seems to me like from where I'm looking, like one of those, even though they're going really slow, one of those huge keelboats would almost be worse to T-bone with than the F-50. Can you can you describe the difference between hitting a boat and an F-50 versus a keelboat?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, maybe T-boning a J class is probably worse than achieving it in a in an F50. But I think it's just the speed, and it's a quite a hot topic at the moment because there has been a few crashes, and I guess as a driver, when you crash one of these boats, it's an expensive boat, and it's at the end of the day, it's your responsibility, and um, uh, yeah, I guess that's the hard part, and we're all pretty competitive, and crashing these boats now means that you're gonna miss races, and it's gonna hurt your season. So yeah, it's not something you want to do, that's for sure. And yeah, the speeds are quite phenomenal, and yeah, you don't really want to come together at those speeds. It's a scary thought.
It's amazing. Like I just see you guys ducking each other, and like when you get that camera, it's like, man, this is happening so fast. The other thing I noticed the other day, which I kind of couldn't believe, because the mark roundings, you guys are getting so close to the marks on these things. Like you're, it's just the skill level involved. To it's just a small detail, but
Yeah,
am I right? Am I seeing that right? Like you guys are getting really close, like as close as an opti almost. It
yeah,
seems
you
like.
probably sometimes get closer. Yeah, yeah. I guess it is a little bit of the skill level is there, but it's the boats. You've got a lot of control over the boats as well, driving it, so you can push it to really to the limit, and especially in roundings and dips. And I must admit, I've done a couple of dips on boats where I've had to close my eyes, thinking I've got it pretty good. Um, yeah, they've all seemed to be okay so far, but yeah, for sure the guys are not going to give away an inch on the race course. So when it comes to turning corners and dipping boats, you're going to make sure you're as close as you can be. And I guess years of doing it, you sort of get to that stage.
And how do you guys like? I guess it's the same as everybody. You get off the race course, you have a beer, and you say sorry or whatever happened. But how do you get on? These are like I don't know 9 other guys, and you're racing. God only knows how expensive these boats are. Um, like, what's it like on shore when you guys have to debrief or just
Yeah,
say, "Hey, what's up, Nathan? Sorry, I just ran you
yeah.
over."
No, it's actually really friendly. And I'll probably put a disclaimer. At the moment, it's very friendly ashore. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, everyone's pretty polite and friendly at the moment, and I'm not sure. Maybe that will change one day. Maybe it won't. But yeah, we'll
Right.
see.
Um, so in that original video the kind of meet Phil Robertson video, first of all, I have to say, so cool that it's Montreal based. Like that
Yeah.
video, you standing in front of the Olympic Stadium, and 9 times out of 10, that's Toronto. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure what I went to university there. My dad grew up there. I think it's an amazing place. So
Hmm.
I don't know what God's brought you to Montreal,
Yeah.
but I'm happy for it.
Fred brought us there.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
Tyler too. Tyler Bjorn, is he
Yeah.
involved? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the majority of the team, I guess the guys Fred and Tyler that sort of created and started the team, they're all based out of Montreal. So naturally that's where the team sort of come from, I guess, which is kind of
Right.
strange but very, very cool.
It's funny. Yeah, like I'm from New Brunswick, which is the next province over from Quebec, and always, like historically speaking, the sailors who were great at windsurfing or cat sailing, always from Quebec. Like the people that were like good at monohulls and like so-called, I don't know, more pure sailing were always from the other provinces. But I don't know. I mean, that's something about Quebec. I don't know. I think it's the European influence or the French influence.
Mm.
Um, but in that intro video, you said that sailing gives you a sense of freedom and dictated by nature. And when my son was little, he used to say like sailing was like magic. Like you just
Mm.
get in the boat and it just starts moving. Like how would you describe that?
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, I guess it is quite like magic. Yeah. So I guess the wind you can't really see it. So yeah, that's the
That's a
one
good
that
point.
it propels you forwards. And yeah, I just love the sport. It's a bit more stressful now when you go sailing. It doesn't really have that peaceful vibe about it anymore when you're doing the speeds we do, and the responsibility that you carry on these boats. But it's yeah, a very unique sport, I guess, and it's yeah, very very special. And yeah, for me, I just enjoy the nature aspect of it. You are dictated to by nature. Whatever it throws at you, you've got to sort of interpret it and then put it into practice better than your competitors, and that's quite unique and special. I think there's not many sports where you don't control very much. Like sailing, you have very little control over what is going on, and yeah, over anything really. So it's quite cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But on that thought of the like magic of like a kind of whatever normal boat, do you ever think this is going to sound like a weird question, but when you're on the foiling F50 going like as fast as a car on a highway, do you ever think like, holy crap, I'm just a human being. Like just me and four other people, human beings, are making this thing happen. Like, does that freak you out sometimes?
Not really. I think the whole time we're on it, we're probably thinking, how can we make this thing go faster? So yeah, it's amazing how your senses sort of recalibrate. And I remember the first time on the boat and the first time sort of going over 40 knots, and you know about it. You're quite tense. Your hands are sweating, and yeah, now it's just a normal Sunday afternoon doing 40 knots, and it's quite boring and slow. So it's not until you're doing 50 knots that you start to think, yeah, this is quite cool. This is quite fast now. But yeah, it's amazing. Your whole body just calibrates, and that sense of speed sort of disappears after a while.
Okay. How fast have you gone on it?
I think just over 50 knots, probably. It's a bit.
That's in practice or in a race or
We did it. We've done it in racing. Yeah, I think in last season most boats were hitting over 50 knots at Mark One, sort of the bear away from a reach to downwind, and yeah, it's it's quite cool when you got 6 or 7 boats around you and you're all doing 50 knots and hoping no one gets it wrong.
I mean, that's the thing about that beam reach start that I mean, again, a purist would think
Mm.
it's weird, and maybe you wouldn't. Maybe which okay, what is cool about that? About
Uh,
that, like just drag race off the start.
Yeah, what I really like about it, and I know they sort of tested it, is it's if you with the reaching start, you have a bad start, and by the bottom mark, you're sort of at the back of the pack, but you've got options.
Oh
If you
yeah,
have a gate bottom mark, you're close, and you've got options. Whereas I think with an upwind start, if you have a bad start and you get bounced the wrong way, you're kind of out of the race. So with the reaching start, your race starts at the bottom gate and you're in the game no matter how well you started or not. So it's quite unique, I think, and the reaching start's obviously fast. It's the fastest point on the racetrack is when you go from that reach to the Bearaway, and yeah, I'm a big fan of them. I've been doing them
okay.
for I don't know 6 or 7 years, and yeah, I think they're great.
But you wouldn't want to do it in like your in a match race, right? Like
Uh,
at
I guess we match raced the M32s with reaching starts, and
oh okay.
it was still super good. And same story with the upwind starts. If you get it wrong or start behind, it's really easy for the person in front in match racing to control the match from there. But with the reaching starts in a bottom gate, you can never really control them. You still got to be thinking your own game and ahead, and yeah, it opens up the game a lot more.
That's cool, because one of the questions I often ask in that rapid thing is like, how important is the start in a sailboat race? And people usually say like 70-80%.
Mm.
So it's got to come down a bit with that reaching start, right? That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, it's probably about 20%, I reckon, the reaching start. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
uh,
That's cool. I never thought of it that way. It keeps you in the game, and it's such a spectacle, right?
yeah, it is. And I guess as the fleets get bigger, it becomes more important to start well. So you go for a match racing start reaching, it's not very important to start well. But yeah, once you start getting up to 10, 12 boats, then it's important to start well. And beyond 12, it gets interesting. It gets quite busy.
Well, what did we get? 10 this year, right?
Yeah, well, it'll be 10 boats this year, so that's going to be the racetracks haven't got any bigger and the locations haven't got any bigger, so there's going to be a bit of traffic around.